If you don't mind, leave my phone there to record, and then I'll just record my questions and mix them later on.
Great.
So it should be all right. First time I saw you last night, hell of a show. Thank you so much for doing the one-off. How does it feel to be back on stage after a year sort of away?
It was more tiring than I remember physically on my glutes.
I think there's also the tiredness is added when there's a lot of kind of anxiousness behind it, and we were both like before the show on stage just kind of like, oh dude, there's nerves, and I think that happens from not doing it in a little while, but also I think we strive for greatness, and expect a lot out of ourselves and each other. Well, I know that's nerve-wracking.
I know fans I was talking to last night after the gig are super excited. I was chatting to one girl on the tube who's already bought tickets for both nights when you're back in London, and she's going to buy the third as well. She's dying to come and see. So a lot of excitement. The videos have obviously dropped, and you've put the theme and so on together, and the story has moved from Blurryface into Clancy, and there's sort of a new part to the whole thing. The rollout of that process, like, is Clancy a more sort of opposite to Blurryface, a more positive, happy side to this tale? The new character and the new direction?
Interview number 1, man. I don't know. How did you know about Clancy?
Well, we had to listen to the album. We got a copy, so we've had to listen to the whole album. Right, but Clancy's
not on the record.
It's online. I've read about it.
Read about Clancy
and so on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. Clancy's. I've heard about him, but I don't. I know we're from the same place.
Got you. Okay. The story of Dima and HDS and sort of the follow-on music video and the escape thereof and so on. The music video sort of came out in a very short space of time and kind of disjointed, and I know fans are trying to work out the order and how to put them in and what links back to the past and what links back to the future. Is there more of that coming? Is it a trilogy? Can you tell us if there's going to be more in the future?
I think the way that we left it was definitely intentionally open-ended so that we could continue to add to the narrative, because it's something that's definitely a thread throughout the entire record. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ideas in my head. Okay. I think that I do find that it was interesting that some people kind of came up with their own version of the timeline, and it was never meant to confuse people like which came first and everything, but at the same time, I guess when you're telling a story that has a lot of cyclical parts to it, things that continue to happen over and over, at that point I guess you could ask, like, where did this start? So it once the fans got a hold of it and started to digest it, it even brought it more life, watching the story come to life. So I'm excited to dive back into it at some point.
Was there a specific meaning behind the sort of shift in color from the Blurryface more red into the more yellow? I mean, you hexed a specific color frame on the website that people have sort of gotten into now, and I saw so many people dressed up with the strips in the right color last night already for the one-off show. Is there a specific meaning behind the shift from red into yellow?
Yeah, I mean, yellow was a very important color for this record. In the narrative, when you're in the world of Trench, it's very wild, it's very green, earthy, and a lot of those tones you would want to try to wear to avoid being captured, just to blend in, right? But then at the same time, you want to be able to communicate to those who you want to know, hey, I'm here, like your comrades, the people who are there with you. And that yellow color, little accents of yellow, is how that's communicated in Trench, because the bishops who are after you at that point are unable to see the color yellow. So that's kind of how yellow came into play.
For my audience back in South Africa who are not perhaps part of the clique and not so into it, can you give us just a brief rundown of like Nico and who he is and what he represents?
Yeah, Nico's a continuation of a story from the last record. The last record was about a guy named Blurryface, and I realized that the more that you learned about those things that you're insecure about, you know, learning how do you compensate for them, why do I have them, are they even real? The more you learn about those insecurities, the more power that you have over them to try to defeat them. And Nico is a direct representation of from Blurryface to Nico, me learning more about him and where he's from and what his name is and how he controls me.
Okay. Thank you. That's going to help to put some context to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, honestly, man. My grandma called me and was like, "What's Nico?" So, I mean, I get it. It's at the same time, though, the story is supposed to... I mean, it is first and foremost for the fans who've kind of wanting to dive in from the very beginning and bought into this whole thing and stuck around through us taking a long break and everything. And I wanted to create something worthwhile. We didn't just take a break for a year. We were working. And
the last verse on Neon Gravestones, sort of even away from the context of the album, it felt almost like a political kind of verse, like you had a lot to say, not just about you and where the album was, but it felt like you could have been talking about the situation around the world at the moment. Was there a deliberate bend in that direction?
Man, you're on fire. I guess that song and the entire record in particular is something that's very important to me, and I would say in this moment is more important to me than politics. And so that's, I guess, for someone to take kind of a political bend, like you say, on a song that I wrote is not really my intention, but at the same time it's definitely open-ended for people to interpret that way. But I had no intention of it coming across as a political bend.
Fair enough. Last question. If you had a pet cheetah, would you really call it Jason Statham?
Yeah, absolutely. Did you like that?
I liked it a lot.
That
I was
was a verse.
laughing over breakfast in my hotel room this morning.
Yeah, that was a rap I wrote a long time ago, and Josh had always tried to... He'd always wanted me to put it in a song, and I was like, that'll never fit in a song. It's just like fool around. And then one day I called him up and said, hey, I figured out how to put it in the song, and he flipped out, and so we're excited about it.
Awesome. That's all I need, guys. Can I ask you for an ID for my radio station
Absolutely.
as well? And then we're done. 5FM in South Africa, so just like, hey, this is 21 Pilots, you're listening to 5FM.
Cool.
Hey, this is Tyler.
This is Josh.
And we're 21 Pilots, and you're listening to 5FM.
Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate the
Absolutely.
time. Thank you. Good luck with the rest of the tour.
Thanks for coming to the
And
show.
Yeah, thank you.
One last question that everyone wanted to know. Are you guys ever planning to come to South Africa? All of my
We
family?
would love to, because one of the guys we just hired on the crew is South African.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it, so we want to try to make it there. I know that there was a moment there we almost did, and it didn't quite work out, but we've always wanted to go down there. So
Fingers crossed. Good luck with the new record. It's great.
thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
gentlemen. Have a good morning.